feet are arches and not L's today. They are never L's, but indeed arches. As we place our weight of the body down the front of the shins, we may be able to feel these arches a little better, as we are remembering that the weight-bearing portion of the lower leg is the front of the shins, nowhere near the back where we believe our fleshy calves to be. Feeling so good from the inside out, better than your morning would feel without in this simulation of ours, we invite you to hold this controller properly with us today. What do you mean this controller? Well, as you know, we live in this simulation of ours, which we die in every 5 minutes, but that timer is reset with a breath. So in the simulation of ours, we invite you to hold your controller properly, your breathing controller properly, by pretending that there is a candle in front of your lips that you are trying to not put out. And it's just flickering there. A lit candle in front of your lips, your face lips, that you're trying to not put out. And as we are doing so, we are remembering that the tip of the tongue wants to be anchored to the back of the bottom front teeth. Always. The tip of the tongue wants to be anchored to the back of the bottom front teeth as we are holding our breathing controller properly today. Our human breathing controller properly today in this simulation of ours in which we die every 5 minutes. But that timer is reset with a breath that we take. Good morning, everybody. My name is Herbie. This is absolutely Go On. We will be discussing some body magic tricks today, as we always do, to feel so good from the inside out. And as we are addressing misconceptions about ourselves and feeling so good while doing so, on a Warfare Wednesday like today, it is 5:37 a.m. Stretching your self-awareness like a muscle this morning. Good morning, where are you? Where art thou? Are you still in your room, just stretching your legs? Have you already gotten out of bed and are you listening to us in the future, in a VOD or something like that? What are you up to? Where are you? What are your plans for today? Good morning. It is a Wednesday, November 3rd, 2021. Can you believe that we are already here? Wednesday, November 3rd, 2021. 5:38 a.m. It's a Warfare Wednesday. Today we'll be talking about slave labor. Is there slave labor in the world? Are we already involved in slave labor? Is slave labor something that could have crept up on you? We're going to define slave labor. Simply put it into our awareness, as we do in all things in Go On, as we hope that you will take all of these words and then let them allow them to go into one ear and then out the other. As we are simply placing things into our awareness and allowing the wonderful machine that you are, this window to this godlike experience that you are, do the rest. As you are always this amazing, beautiful creature, you, always establishing meaning, creating meaning, finding meaning, relationships between seemingly unrelated things, you creative, amazing individual, you. We will simply be entering some information into your awareness today. We will be talking about slave labor. Are we already involved in slave labor? Have we sold our souls already? And what to do about it? Will it be difficult or will it be easy? Will it feel bad or will it feel good? Will it feel like some random words that mean nothing, or will it actually be some actionable words for you to practice and be able to measure yourself against for your own satisfaction in life? To feel the best in life, to always love the most life and fear the least death. And let's have a great life. We'll be right back after this short break to talk about slave labor and if we're already involved in it, and what to do about it and how to feel so good about it. But only if you remember that the back 1/3 of the tongue is vertical here on Go On. Be right back. Indeed, we move in the way that we think. We move in the way in which we think we are constructed. You amazing window to this godlike experience that you are. You do indeed move in the way. You do indeed move in which the way you think you are constructed. As in, should we remind ourselves that the back 1/3 of our tongue is vertical and we move in that way, we might align closer to reality and be rewarded with a better breath for it. To feel so good from the inside out and to hold this breathing controller properly in this simulation of ours in which we die every 5 minutes, but that timer is reset with a breath. I want to remind you that you do not sit on your legs and you want to leave your swallowing muscles alone at all times. Please keep all arms and legs inside the vehicle and all swallowing muscles all the way alone from your conscious mindset. And how does that feel for you? Please do not just take our word for it, but allow all of these words to go in one ear and then out the other and see how it feels for you. Welcome back to another Warfare Wednesday here on Pal Go On. It is 5:44 a.m. Are you driving right now? Are you walking? Are you eating? Are you leaving those swallowing muscles alone? Are you remembering that there's a candle in front of your lips that you're trying to not put out? Today we talk about slave labor. Are we already involved in slave labor? What might we define as slave labor? Being beholden completely to another person's whims for you, the well-being of your livelihood to depend on someone else's decision making. How might this happen? We might depend specifically on our jobs to provide us the emotional, physical, and financial security that we need in life. Now, this might not seem too far-fetched, as we all do get much of our life value from work. We do get a lot of our life value from work, as we are pretending that there's a candle in front of our lips that we're trying to not put out. And so it might not seem too far-fetched that we would put so much value and we would expect so much of our needs to be met from the workplace that we engage in. When we put so much of our value into the workplace that we engage in, we work for the money that they provide us. We work for, eventually, the amenities that they provide us, the benefits, the intangibles, a retirement fund possibly, passageway to college, free things, free give outs, free handouts. How much of our paycheck do we consider to be our paycheck, as in the literal dollars that we make, or how much of our paycheck do we consider to be the overall package of which the company provides to you? Now, is it possible to misvalue what is possibly being given to you that is not the dollar amount. A pathway to college might seem like a flat dollar amount until we remind ourselves that the colleges set what fee that is, based on how much money they want. Now, there is value to what they are providing, but hidden far from view, far from you, given by graces of us saying, take a random amount from my paycheck for this. Though we cannot for ourselves see in our view what they are doing with the portion of our check that we are exchanging in order for us to get these goods or these services or these pathways to college or these airplane flights, retirement funds, and especially efforts towards taxes that might involve environmentalism, activism, more hands for your money to go through, made to be very out of sight in order for them to be able to change the amount that it affects your paycheck without any accountability, without being able to connect the dots of why they are changing the amount, why they are increasing the amount that they're taking from you, in order to get these things done. Kept far from your view in order for them to be able to move that percentage amount of your paycheck higher and justify it by saying, well, there's just too much you wouldn't understand. You're just not an intellectual. Don't you see that intellectuals are God? You just wouldn't understand. But it's for your own good, as they take 20, 30, 40% of your paycheck away. Now, why is that an issue? Well, because time is money. What do you mean time is money, Herbie? As in time is money like TikTok, we gotta hustle? But what is the value of time? As in you are gonna die every 5 minutes, but that timer is reset with a breath. But eventually you will die. And if that weren't true, time wouldn't be valuable. As we are always life-loving, loving what is already there in life, never death-fearing, fearing this could be possible fear of a reality that is not even real yet, or that is just in your head so far. As we're always life-loving, on Pao Go On, we see that the fact that we are going to die might be scary, but it is the fact that we are going to die that gives time itself the very value that it has. You are so valuable. Your time is so valuable because your body will expire one day. But your time is so valuable. You as a human being are so valuable. Not only in just what you produce with your hands, but in the effect that you have on the people around you. On your ability to affect the people around you. To withhold love from them should they even want it. You are so strong even in that respect. You are so strong and you are so important in the other respects, in that people want to see your needs get met. People want to see you do work. People want to see you do good work. People want to see you happy. People want to see you in love. People want to see you enjoy. And since you are so important and you can produce such a great output, there is such high demand for people like you. There is such high demand for people like you. And there's such high demand to keep people like you working. And providing money inflow for people who have other priorities in mind. But they recognize that you are so powerful, you are so important as a human being. But they recognize they can siphon that for their own selfish needs for a little bit of a power until it gets balanced again. Of course, everything always gets balanced. Lies can only be covered up by more lies so many times until the whole house of cards falls over. The truth prevails because it is the truth. It stands the test of time. It stands the test of scrutiny that no other concept can ever match. Descriptively, that is what the truth is. Not even trying to apply a meaning or impose a meaning. They want your slave labor. They want you to be working for yourself, as in working with the spirit of as if it's for yourself, because they understand that that is the best output for a human being, is when the spirit is working for yourself. But they want to hide and take 20% of that portion of that work and that goodness that you think that you are providing for yourself specifically. And they want to take 20% of that and say, hey, this is also for you. This is what you say that you want. This is what you say that you want for the world. And so you say, yes, I will work 100% for myself because I love myself. And I will work 100% for that 20% because it's going towards what I want. And they know that that money would not be anywhere near as much or fruitful should you think it was going to someone else. So they pretend that it's for you and what you quote unquote and your needs want, for environment, for activism, for whatever. And they know that without telling you that it's for those things that you think that you want, you would not work as hard, so you would not produce the most amount. But then they take that 20% and use it for what they want. Cash that was only made because you thought you were doing it for what you wanted. Cash that was only cash that was only in such a high amount because you thought it was going towards the spirit of what you wanted. A high amount of cash that would not have been generated otherwise. Then taken for completely different means. Slave labor. What do you care about? What will make you work hard? Let's say that it's going towards that. And then let's make sure it does never go towards that. Is that the freedom of your labor? Is that your choice being imposed? Is that your choice being revealed to the world? Is that your choice being embodied? Is that freedom embodied? Are we already involved in slave labor? Enslaved to the guilt that we have, enslaved to the desires of altruism that we want to impose onto the world, yet feel powerless to do on our own? Are we enslaved to our desire to affect the world? Yet are we enslaved by our powerlessness to do so? Are we already slaves? We'll be right back after this short break to discuss how we can break out of these chains. You beautiful creature, you. My name is Herbie. And this has been Pal Go On. We'll be right back after this short break. we're remembering to feel the front of our shin. And remembering that our arms do not rest on our ribs. Feeling so good from the inside out. Better than your morning would feel without. Welcome back. As we are always holding our controller properly in this simulation of ours in which we die every 5 minutes, but that timer is reset with a breath, we invite you to pretend that there's a candle in front of your lips and every person's lips in which they are trying to not put out. It's just flickering there. And they're not trying to put it out. They're trying to not put it out. And they're simply trying to not put it out. They're not thinking about exhaling. They're not thinking about inhaling, but to hold this breathing controller properly today with us. To intrigue ourselves today with these body magic tricks, we invite you to pretend that there's a candle just flickering in front of your lips. And you're not thinking about exhaling or inhaling necessarily. As we then remember that the tip of the tongue wants to be anchored to the back of the bottom front teeth. And keep all back 1/3 of the tongues vertical, up and down, up and down. And how does that feel for you? We hope that you remember to allow all these words to go in one ear and out the other. And never to take our word for it, but always see how it feels for you. Welcome back. Remember, at the beginning, middle, and end of each show, we will be addressing any chats, likes, comments, shout-outs, donations, ice creams, ninjas, whatever they are. Today on Warfare Wednesday, on the second half of the show, it is 6:02 a.m. It is a Warfare Wednesday. It is November 3rd, 2021. It is a Warfare Wednesday, which means we'll be discussing more about our relationship, the individual, our relationship with the world. Every weekday here on Pago One, we are stretching our self-awareness like a muscle and establishing a stronger relationship between us and ourselves. But specifically on Wednesday, we discuss the relationship between our yin and yang, ourselves, and the world. Today we talk about slave labor. Are you already a slave? What is a slave? What is a slave if not someone... What is a slave if not someone bequeathing all of the responsibility of their life to another person? What is a slave but someone's whose life depends on the decisions of another person's making? When our fate is decided by the decisions that someone else is making, are we not slaves to such person? When our decision making, when our livelihood is not formed out of decisions that we can make for ourselves. Now, how might we already be slaves? Well, when we look at our jobs, do we not rely completely on our jobs for them to fulfill our needs, whether they be financial, social, and now leading on even to spiritual? As we look to our jobs, our income, and what they tax of it to go towards what we spiritually care about, whether that be activism, saving the planet, affecting global warming, climate change, affecting single motherhood, affecting crime rate. Have we become slaves to wanting to be important to the world, yet feeling powerless to do anything about it? Have we become slaves to our insatiable desire to be influential in the world, and yet feel so powerless to do so? Are we enslaved to wanting to do well for the world, yet feeling powerless to do so? Do we feel so enslaved by our powerlessness to do any of the good that we want to do in the world that we are willing to forfeit 20% of our check to feel as though we are satisfying our spiritual desire? Do we have such a desire, do we have such a spiritual mar on our soul that we want to relieve? Do we have such a mark on our souls that we want to relieve that we will sell 20% of our check to feel as though we are doing well for the world in the way that we desire so much to do so? Are we enslaved by our desire to do well for the world? Do we feel that we need the world? As in, do we feel that we need to give 20% of our check for the world in order for the world to love us back? Do we feel that we need to save the world in order for the world to care about us individually? Have we been made to feel as though we need to save the world in order for us to be loved by the world individually? And so are we slaves to needing to save the world? Will we give 20, 30, 40, 50% of the check that we make using our own blood and time that we will never get back? Do we forfeit eventually 50% of that to feel as though we are saving the world, for we feel that the world will not love us unless we want to save it, unless we want to save the world over loving the life that we have right here and now, whatever it is, whatever it might be, wherever you might be, wherever you are? Instead of loving wherever you are right now and having no shame about what you love, although there are complaints that we might have, by loving the world that we have right now, by loving where you are right here and right now and doing the best that you can for what you see right here and right now, do you believe you can still receive the love that you feel you can only get by giving 20% of your check or 50% of your check away to quote unquote saving the world? AKA giving your check to somebody and telling them to save the world, having no idea what they're going to do with it, but it feels good for you. Are we enslaved to being good people? Are we enslaved to desiring to be good people, and yet feeling so unable to do so, be so? Are we enslaved by our good nature? Are we told that we will not be loved unless we have an attitude of saving the world? But can we save the world by loving each of our lives individually where we are right here and right now? Can one person save the world? Can every person together save the world? By focusing on what is here and right now, by focusing on where you are right here and right now, by loving what you have right here and right now, by providing and loving what you have right here and right now, do you not generate the energy that you can, that creates amazing relationships between people, that creates a strong bonds, that creates strength within human beings to go out and conquer their dreams right there and then? Do we not generate all that we do? Do we not generate all the best that we can when we are loving life right here and right now? For our body knows no other time, knows not whether your money will even go towards what you believe it will go to, not with any conviction, not in the same kind of conviction you can have about the moment you are having right here and right now, this interaction with this person right here and right now. What can that affect? We want to save the world on Warfare Wednesday. We want to save the world every day, but we talk about saving the world on Wednesday. We want to save the world by throwing away our check to somebody. We want to save the world, but how much good can come from being right here and right now, affecting the time right here and right now, the only time that anybody can ever know. How much greatness can be had from being right here and right now. Present right here and right now, possibly lifting right here and right now. All this human amazing potential that comes from conviction. Conviction of what? Maybe knowing what's here and right now. What is here and right now? Possibly the ability to provide energy to somebody who can provide energy back, and vice versa, and always lend a helping hand, vice versa, by being in the moment, saving the world here and now by living and loving what is here and right now, by showing through example how to love even the worst, as we're always life loving what happened, instead of death fearing this imaginary death of some experience that could happen in our heads. As we are life loving, what kind of world saving could that provide? We want to save the world. Well, why not just love it right here and now? Right here and now. What good can come from loving it right here and right now? And receiving it, just appreciating it, and loving it. We want to save the world. When's the last time we've loved it? You want to take 20% of my check? I love life. I need that money to love more life. Right here and now. And what might that inspire? What might people want to save when they love it? What might people want to save when they love it? What would happen if we loved the life here and now, instead of trying to love the world here and now, instead of trying to save it there and then? Way later, through hands that we cannot confirm. We'll be right back after this short break, but only if you remember that there's a candle in front of your lips that you're trying to not put out. You life-loving being. Here on Pago On. is the front as we allow the weight to be delivered into those beautiful rainbow arches. Welcome back to the height of the show. It is 6:16 a.m. here on Warfare Wednesday, November 3, 2021. November 3, 2021. Can you believe that we're already here? Oh my goodness. Today we've been talking about slave labor. Are we enslaved to the goodwill? Are we enslaved to all of the impact that we want to have on the world, yet the powerlessness yet the feeling of powerlessness to do so? Are we enslaved to how much good we want to do? Are we enslaved to how much we want to save the world? Are we enslaved to the desire for the world to care about us? Do we feel that we need the world to care about us? Are we enslaved to our desire to do good for the world so the world will care about us? Are we enslaved to the goodwill we want to put on the world? Are we enslaved to the impact that we desire to have on the world? Are we enslaved to our feelings of powerlessness to do so, such that we might forfeit 20, 30, 40, 50% of our paycheck in order to save the world so the world would care about us? Because who doesn't want to save the world? What, are you some kind of psychopath? Are we enslaved to needing the world to love us? So are we enslaved to feeling now as though we must save the world? We want to save the world by giving away our paycheck to somebody and tell them to save the world. How can we save the world? Why would we want to save the world? We feel like we need to be loved by the world. People must know I want to save the world. I want to save the world so I can be loved by the world. We all have to get our needs met. We need to be accepted into this world. What might the world want? Somebody who cares about the world? We might be thinking we care about the world because we're afraid of the world dying. We are death-fearing for the world, so we might give away 50% of our check trying to prevent the death of this world. But can't the world see that you care by also loving it? We want to save the world we want to save the world, and we want the world to see that we care by showing that we care about its death. We fear the death of the world. We fear the world dying. So we want the world to see that we care, so we show it that we are fearful of its dying. But we want to show the world that we care, but we can also show it by showing the world that we love it for what it is, for being alive. Again, we want to be loved by the world, so we show the world that we care by fearing its death. But isn't there a much stronger way to show that you love the world, or that you want to be cared for by the world, or that you care about the world? And is that not loving the world? Instead of fearing the death of the world, can we not show that we care about the world? Can we not receive the care from the world as well? By loving it. On Warfare Wednesday, here we are talking about slave labor. Have we already become slaves by outputting all of our livelihood, our energy, 100% into efforts that we believe are following what we want with our intentions. Oh, 20% is going towards these causes that I want. 50% is going towards these causes that I want. So we work 100% of the time thinking that all of it is going towards these causes that we want, whether it's the finances for myself or for these causes that I see in the world. A crazy amount of money, a great amount of wealth that would not have been generated without the feeling that you were doing what you wanted to do. Because you feared for the death of the world, you wanted 20, 50%, whatever, of your paycheck or of your sales tax. You wanted 20 to 30, 40, 50% of it to go towards these causes in the world because you feared the death of this world. That you feared the death of these things in this world that you care about. So you allowed 20, 30, 40, 50% of your own blood and time to go towards these causes because you feared the death of those things. What happens when 20, 30, 40, 50% of that money does not go towards what you think it's going towards, but goes to line someone's pockets? Now, is that not slave labor? When we believed you were working for what you wanted, and you did get 50% of that, but the other 50% of that did not go towards what you wanted, is that freedom of choice or is that slave labor? When you were working under the assumption that it was going towards what you wanted, would you have worked that many hours if you knew it was just going to line someone's pockets? We care so much about being cared about by the world that we want to show that we care about the world in return. How do we do it? By fearing its death. Oh, so we're going to sacrifice 20, 30, 40, 50% of our paycheck, maybe more one day. But if that's all you needed was to show that the world that you cared, or show the world that you cared in order to get the love and care that you wanted from the world, well, there's a better way to do it, isn't there? Yes, we might show that we care about something by fearing its death, but can we also, and in a more, yes, we do care about, or yes, we do show that we care about something by fearing its death, but can't we show that we care more in a better way by showing how much we love that thing? We care so much about being cared for by the world that we'll do anything to show that we care about the world. And we can fear for the death of the world and sacrifice ourselves in order to succumb to this fear of the death of the world in order to show that we care. But if that's all you needed, if that's all your needs were, in a better way, can't we show the world that we care by loving it here and now? With conviction, with our own experiences, with our own confirmation of our own body, right here and now. Knowing that we are doing it, knowing that we are confirming it, knowing that it is going towards what we believe it is going towards, knowing that our time is completely authentic towards this moment and not being stolen or being abused or being used artificially for another cause. Can't we show the world that we care not just by fearing its death and hiding and cowering and anticipating, but can't we show that we care about the world by living right here and now, processing here and now, problem solving here and now, loving life for what it is here and now? How much of your human spirit, how much of the goodness of your human body can finally squeeze itself out when you are 100% certain that what you are doing is going towards what you believe it is going towards? You might be making a little bit less money, quote unquote. I mean, you might be making a little bit more money right now, quote unquote, as you are thinking about reducing taxes towards these causes that we want. You're like, oh, you don't care because you're not allowing 20% of your money to go towards some mystery pile of money that goes towards saving the world. Well, who says what you're doing is saving the world? You don't want to give 20 to 50% of your paycheck to go and save the world. You must be a bad person. You're not going to get the love that you want from the world. Well, so who says that's how you get the love that you want from the world? If the world only needs to see that you care about the world to love you, well, don't you need to just love the world? Are we enslaved to our fear of death of this world? So enslaved to this fear of death that we are willing to sacrifice 50% of our check, half of our check, to feel as though we are saving the world so the world will care about us. We can feel that we are emoting to the world. We are expressing to the world that we care about the world so the world will care about us, just like any relationship, right? Well, how can we better express to the world that we love it so we can get a better love from the world? Well, we might go about loving the world right here and now. And how do we go about loving the world right here and now? You guessed it. Let's hold this breathing controller properly. All together now in this simulation of ours in which we die every 5 minutes, but that timer is reset with every breath you take. Every breath you take. We are always holding this controller, this breathing controller of ours properly so that we can love life here and now and not feel like we have to give 50% of our check in order to get the love that we want from the world as well. Yes, we want the best for the world, but why do we want the best for the world? Well, doesn't the world care about you in return? Isn't it a symbiotic relationship? How do we have a more authentic relationship? Well, let's love the life here and now instead of fearing a projected death in our head. Let's love the life here and now instead of fearing some kind of projected death that only exists in our head. And get all the love that we want and desire in the world. We don't need to want it to save the world. We already know we want it to save the world, as the world provides back to us. We simply must observe. As in, are you observing the candle in front of your lips right now that you're trying to not put out? Are we allowing ourselves to love life here and now by remembering that the back 1/3 of our tongue is vertical, up and down, up and down, up and down? And how does that feel for you? Are we allowing our body to recenter itself and balance itself in order to be able to experience as much as what is going on right here and right now, to love all of it right here and right now, to see more of what is happening right here and right now, as there are far too many things to ever consider or to experience right here and right now in the moment. There is always an infinite more amount of things you can experience right here and right now. And should we balance ourselves, we may be able to open our body to experience more of loving the life right here and right now. So we are not wishing for a life that could be, or fearing the death of some idea of what life could be that only is projected in our head. No other moment exists but this, but we can always continue loving more of it, as there is infinite volume of aspects of life we can love right here and right now, where your body is right here and right now. We want to save the world. Well, the world might be saved by being loved right here and right now. And what kind of power might that bring to love the life right here and right now? What the? Ding, 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 ding. I guess we got the right answer. What good can come from loving the life right here and right now? We want to save the world. The world might be saved by loving it. The truth without hatred. The world might be there for us. Should we love it? How do we love it? By getting out of our own way of trying to project some idea of what it should be, but rather loving what is right here and right now and how good it can make us feel to rebalance in that moment. How good we can feel in any moment to love it. Why wouldn't you love it if it felt good? How do we make it feel good? Improving our relationship with being able to feel good. How do we be able to fix that? Our relationship with being able to feel good? Let's fix it. Let's pretend that there's a candle in front of our lips that we're trying to not put out. And let's not think too hard about it, but simply just observe what kind of muscles want to be engaged, what kind of muscles might be feeling like they're restricted from engaging. We don't need to attempt it too hard to pretend there's a candle, but simply observe our sense of self and how it changes. What permission it gives itself to move in what direction as we pretend there's a candle in front of our lips that we're trying to not put out. And just look at it as though it's interesting. Simply observing is enough. In order to get out of our own way, to feel so good in every moment, why? To love every moment. Why would you not love it if you could feel good during it? And what feels better than improving this relationship with feeling better? As usual, at the beginning, middle, and the end of the show, we will address any comments, chats, engagements, donations, ninja whatevers. And as usual, thank you so much for coming through this morning. Every weekday morning, supercharging your morning. Discussing some misconceptions that might be kind of interesting to talk about without a little bit of guided breathing. Some body magic tricks today. We hope that you have felt so good from the inside out, better than your morning would feel without. We hope that you've been able to tickle the idea of holding this breathing controller properly with us in this simulation in which we die every 5 minutes, but that timer is reset with a breath. By remembering that there's a candle, not just in front of your lips, but everyone's lips in which they each are trying to not put out. And it's simply flickering there, and they're not thinking about breathing in, they're not thinking about breathing out. You're simply letting it flicker. And how does that feel for you? Eric Taylor says, why did I change my intro? Dude, yeah. So that intro was copyrighted. And so I had some TikTok videos with it and it got taken down. And I was like, dude, what? I'm not gonna... I guess it's freaking time for us to improve that layer. So right now, Pal Gawan is strictly produced by moi, yours truly. But what's been great is that slowly but surely, these suggestions have been getting integrated. The first one was color. If you guys remember back in summer, Pal Gawan looked very differently. We look like a crackhead, as someone has said. The emphasis has been changing. Pal Gawan is a growing document, so we appreciate the engagement and we appreciate all the suggestions. The second thing that the second most asked for thing has been the theme. So thank you for mentioning that, Eric. What up? Hello. Thank you for coming through. Good morning. The second thing has been the theme, so we're working on that. There is some good developments on that, and we're trying to settle for good enough so that we can just move forward, because I'm just such a perfectionist sometimes, you know? As everyone, you know, sometimes you're just such a perfectionist that you're just like, nothing gets done. So we're trying to just like get it out there, and we'll have that song coming up pretty soon. I mean, maybe wink wink, you know? But that's definitely on the radar, for sure. That's a huge important aspect of this show, for sure. So that should be fun. And you know, it'll probably be growing. Like maybe it'll come out like some of the shows will have like a debut, and then maybe it'll just get better and better. Yeah, I'd like to get more people involved, so thank you. I'd like to ask for more help and see what you guys think and have some feedback and see if you guys, maybe I'll just like, because instead of having it behind the scenes, have it out here. Be like, what do you guys think? Should we keep it? So we can all move faster. We would love to get this thing looking real cool. And get some, yeah. Where do babies come from, he asks. Well, to Eric Taylor, we do have a diagram for you. If we remember that the weight-bearing portion of the spine is the front, I'm sure all deliveries will go well. Let's see. Let's see what else we got here. The third most asked for feature so far are to have like separate videos like separate videos outside of these morning podcasts. So the third request beside the theme has been to work on some other videos that are more scripted, that I could have maybe like 5 to 10 minutes that people could keep revisiting. So if they want some guided breathing or some body map awareness, they'll be much more digestible, and then they could complement the show. So that's something we're already working on, as well as some clips throughout the show that would make it easier for people to visualize or possibly breathe along during the show, just to make the show more regular. That's what we really want to do, is give the show a lot more structure. It's been very rant-like so far, or like vlog-like, which has been good. It's been allowing us to actually see what we want from the show and what we don't want the show. So we are reaching another phase. So appreciate all of the support, Eric Main. We gotta rollerblade sometime. Maybe a little unprofessional, but for now, since I mean, who knows what's going on with these videos, you know? We'll see how it develops. It is a growing show, but Pal go on forever. Well, just as long as breathing is important, you know? Dope. Thank you for coming through, Eric. Good morning, and thank you for anyone else joining here now in a VOD. Whether you are on Twitch, DLive, or on YouTube, I want to thank you so much for coming through. Always thank you so much for all of the kind words, the support, appreciation. I hope that you have felt so great from the inside out this morning, and if not, there's always a chance to start. We are always life-loving and never death-fearing here on Pal Go On. We'll see you tomorrow for a Truth Hurts Day. It will be Thursday. Thank you so much. Have a fantastic morning. My name is Herbie. Good morning. And this has been absolutely Pal Go On.